Send your man home again, did you?
We are live.
He didn't want to welcome you to come here and sit down.
Joe has sent me a couple of, a couple of messages and I can't read them.
What?
How do you get to a screen where you can send an email?
Okay, everybody, let's call this meeting to order at about 7:01. It's like our clock's a couple minutes slow on the wall there. On February 22nd,
Yeah, I know, but I've gone ahead.
2023.
I didn't know how to
Anybody who in this room who has their cell phone turned to ring, please turn those to silent while we're having our meeting here. Since there's nobody in the audience, we don't want, but
They chickened out tonight.
first thing we'll do is recognize anybody in the audience.
I don't recognize anyone.
You don't recognize anybody?
I
Okay.
don't.
I don't even see anybody.
Roll call. Councilman Joe Armand, are you present?
Joseph.
Yes, I am here by telephone.
There we are.
Thank you. Council position number 2, David Budrus.
I'm present.
Okay, position 3, Stephen Hardy.
Present.
Position 4, Chris Moritz.
Here,
And Levi Shank, position 5. I have not got a call from Levi today, so I don't know what his position is at this
I
time.
think I know what this says.
Okay. Next is to add anything to the agenda. And I have one item, but I don't see a gentleman here, and that was to add a man by the name of Bradley Kruger from a company called Media Bus. This may be of interest to you. He was going to try and make it to our meeting, give us a brief few moments there on what his company had the ability, and he actually called this afternoon, so I'm surprised he's not here. We'll pick him up at a later date.
What did that entail?
And that was Media Bus is a company that builds websites and takes care of multimedia situations similar to what we're trying to
Okay, I see.
put together at the moment. I told him ours would probably be a very small, and I didn't know if it was even something we'd be interested in. He said he'd love to give a little dissertation on what his company's has to offer. Next on our agenda is to approve the minutes from 12/28/2022. So those are the old ones. We get a motion from the floor to examine that.
I haven't even seen them, to be honest with you.
Okay, they're
To
on,
approve.
they were,
Discussion.
they were sent to, excuse me, they were sent out on February 22nd.
Mhm.
I'll second to approve them.
So did I hear a motion?
Second by Joe.
Second by Joe, and you made the motion?
Yeah, I did. Yes.
Okay.
You said February 2nd?
So this is in an email sent Friday, and it's Harrington City Council meeting February 22nd. It's one of 4 attachments on there.
February 22nd?
That's the subject of the email. And then there's December 28th, 2022 for the,
I'm just getting
So Bradley Kruger, you made it. We started on our first item. We'll get back to you in a minute here.
That's fine. Roads were a little
A little slippery maybe?
icy. A little icy, yeah.
I was out there this morning, drove 50 miles down to the couple towns away, and it was not a pleasant trip.
Yeah.
Should be cold and dry tonight anyway.
Oh, it's not drifting. So that's good. Not drifting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it was this morning.
Yeah.
Do you have one, Chris?
I'm ready whenever.
Chris? Any further discussion or
No.
no? David, you had a chance to look at those yet?
I haven't found them, so I'm gonna abstain from the vote. Move on.
Maybe if you don't mind looking over your shoulder.
Are you interested, David? Really, I mean, if so, I don't mean are you
There's all the
interested?
emails.
I have a copy here if you'd like them.
There you go.
Do we even remember the 28th?
Yeah, I read through it and I remember that was kind of a monumental moment there. That was a couple of people we interviewed, and there was some things of rather large importance in that meeting.
That was the budget approval.
Yeah, that was the end of the budget, and
Mm-hmm. And Stan was here.
Stan
I always
was
like
here.
it when Stan's here.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay, with no further discussion, we have a first and a second. All in favor of approving the minutes from December 28th, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same? Okay. 3-0.
4.
4-0?
Okay.
Oh, Joe here, sorry.
Joe is on phone.
You didn't look your normal self, Joe.
Oh, thanks.
I want to digress for just a second here. This is Bradley Kruger. Bradley is the man from
David, can I say that guy?
Media Bus.
Sorry for reaching.
So, Bradley, I'm going to give you the floor for a second, or for a second, for as much time as you need here.
Well, I won't take much. Thanks for your time tonight. So I stopped in here on Friday and met Jess and some other folks. We're an advertising agency out of Spokane. What were we doing out here in Harrington? We are working on trying to build our government work and that we do for the public. And so it's we've been applying for a number of projects in the state, but it's kind of like when you graduate from high school or college trying to get that first job. They won't hire you without experience, and you can't get experience until they hire you. And so we've expanded our scope, and we were out in Lincoln County visiting a number of places, and that's how I ended up here. I was talking with the mayor, and he said that you might have need for a website that the city doesn't have, and I know there is some requirements from the state on posting things on their website and whatnot. And I said, well, we might be able to help you with that. We talked for a little bit, and it told me kind of what you were looking for. Nothing too fancy, pretty simple, just to host some things and give some information. And I know we could build you a very simple website that would give you all the capabilities you need. I did come with a formal proposal because I don't know exactly everything that you would want, but I think we could probably, looking at $500 or less to build the site and to host it for the first year. It would be a website that we would teach, if you wanted to, we teach somebody how to use it here so that you could update it yourself, or we could update that for you on just an as-needed basis. There would not be any residual monthly fee or anything like that. It would simply be the bill and then whatever you would need after that. So we've been in business for 18 years, and as I said, we're crawling back into government work after the pandemic, and everybody wants to see work from the past 3 years. Well, like most places, we were shut down for 2, so we really got about a year, and we haven't gotten a lot. So that's what we're out doing. So hopefully we can help you with your needs, and in turn, it'll help us with ours as well. Any questions I can answer or anything?
Joe, can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear everything loud and clear.
Okay.
Okay.
What kind of sites do you make as far as like WordPress or?
So platform, yeah. So we will work in WordPress. We like the Wix platform the best. It's an open source platform, which means anybody with a username and password can get on it. So again, we could easily teach somebody here. It's very easy to use. It's much easier to use than WordPress. From that standpoint, price-wise, it's about the same as far as the hosting for it and whatnot. So that's what we like. We do use GoDaddy as well. Weebly is another one, but we tend to prefer Wix as a platform.
Do you work with situations where the client already has their own hosting?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. In that case, if you already have the own hosting, we just need the domain and be able to point it to that, and so simply do that. So that's not a problem. Yeah, you do not have to host it with us. You don't have to host it with Wix. Hosting is about, with Wix, it's about, I want to say $12 a month. $12, $13. If you pay by the year, you get a little bit of a discount. So it's not that much. The other thing that we like about Wix is the help. You can get on the phone and actually talk to somebody if there is a problem, and they do speak English, and so they're very easy to work with and work through. Yeah.
The city already has hosting through DreamHost,
Okay,
so
perfect.
we haven't developed the site
Mhm.
yet,
Mhm.
but it exists. So there may be an inclination there to use the WordPress site that's already available
Okay,
and paid for.
okay, okay.
Our emails are already attached to that domain, harrington.city.
Yes, yeah, that's not a problem. And again, we can work in WordPress, that's okay. We've done that before as well.
I think I'm good for the moment. I'd be interested in seeing your proposal.
Okay, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Is there anything besides the basics that you would like to see? Is there any special requirements? I know one thing that the mayor had expressed is he'd like it to be able to kind of be searchable. If somebody wants to find an ordinance or something, that they could plug in into the search bar into the site and it would pop up. Anything else that you would want in a website to have so that we can actually make sure we include everything in the bid?
Maybe I should give you so I'm the technical resource here with
Okay.
things. What I've set up is that we already have a subdomain off of that it's automatically uploading everything from our NAS through FTP up there.
Okay.
So we're looking to just, in order to make things easy to access, I put a face, a nicer looking face over the top of just a basic directory structure and try and make that searchable. I was thinking probably through like a Google search tie-in. The nice thing about that is that currently our clerk doesn't have to have any, to update files, all she has to do is drop them in a particular folder and they're up there.
Right.
So there's no upload mechanism or anything else, and then hopefully we can collaborate off of that same location that keeps everything public.
Right.
Since most everything that we do is subject to Freedom of Information Act requests, we're looking to try and work in the public eye with our documents as much as possible. So there'd be a lot of them, and we wouldn't want to run that through the upload mechanism. So I think for the website, it'd be mostly just about the static information of who we are, where we are, how to contact us, and then to keep all the file-based things off of that automation that we have on the NAS and just link that in from that other subdomain,
Okay, okay. So pretty simple, yeah. Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah, should be, yeah, exactly, hopefully, so. Okay. All right.
Can I have a sticky note and
What was your first name, Mark?
Brad.
Brad, sorry.
It's okay, it's okay.
Is that Brad's card laying right now? That's
I got it right here.
I've got more cards if you need them,
Chris, can I borrow your pen?
if you would like them.
I would take one if you could.
And I've got more of our profile also, if you need a couple more of those. I've got a few of those, I believe I brought them. Yeah, sure did.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. There's a card if you need
No,
one.
thank you.
So,
I don't know, I can't seem to get it to work.
What?
This old-fashioned technology, Chris, I just can't get the pen to work.
Oh, I've been writing with it, so.
Don't let me have it, by the way. I broke Joe's favorite pen the one time I tried to use it.
a couple more of these.
The
if you
one you
want
have in
those
your
to
hand
shoot
right
as
now
well.
will blow up in your pocket if you leave this running.
You don't mind?
It's like the old Mission Impossible tape, it's gonna explode.
It won't ask anything, it'll just blow up in your pocket.
Yeah.
It's for my daughter's business, I don't know. Yeah.
Thank you very much. for
Anything,
putting down.
yeah, absolutely. Anything else I can answer, or?
I'm good.
Okay. I'll get a bid together for the request and get that back to you probably early next week, if that works okay.
Sure.
If we're sitting on Wednesday now, yeah.
If you can send that to me, you can send it to clerk at Harrington, you can send it to, I don't know if Stephen wants to give out his address there or not, but it'll get forwarded, right?
I can send it to you and the clerk as well. I'll send it to both, and it can get to the proper place. Perfect. Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Giving that back? Or
I'm giving it
cancel
back.
that?
You know, council, city. That goes to everybody.
David, did you have any questions
No,
for him?
no, I'm good.
Chris?
I don't know
No?
enough to ask any
That's
questions.
okay.
I was actually about to say exactly what Chris did.
Yeah, I've been retired too long.
I'm glad I don't have to now.
Joe's got to have some question, right, Joe?
No, well, I might, but I was gonna wait until after we have a discussion of, formulating a plan of what this site is really gonna look like before we delve deeper into questions.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Well,
I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Thank you for
coming. That
coming
was
down.
not an easy drive. As I told you, it may be profitable, it may be,
It's okay. It was completely worth it. Nice to meet you folks. And like I said, I'll get a bid back based on kind of what we know. And then, as I said, we can kind of figure out exactly, as we figure out exactly what it wants, we can adjust that to be what it is. But I think we can keep it very affordable for you. So,
well,
okay.
thanks for coming.
Folks,
Brad.
thank you so much. I'll get out of your
Yes,
way.
thank you.
Be careful on your way home.
Oh, yes. I'm going to drive a little slower now. I was hustling to get here, and so I'm going to take it a little easier. So, fortunately, I think it's the wind has kind of kept the critters in hiding. So,
Yeah, I don't think there'll be too many people out.
Did you come Highway 2 or did you take
I
23?
came I-90 to Spring and
Okay.
got through this way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I did. A little icy, but not bad.
Okay.
Not bad. Thank you, folks.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you very
Talk to
much.
you
Yes.
soon. Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is to approve the minutes for 2/8/2023.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor to approve and a second. Discussion? Anybody need a copy to look at?
Is that, I mean, I'm just not familiar with that notation, is that?
No?
No, I'm
Okay.
fine, I'm good.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I know, I just didn't know the brackets were,
Right. No, it's just because I had the other one.
yeah. No, that's fine.
I'm good.
Good here.
Good?
Yes.
Okay, we got a motion on the floor to approve the minutes for 2/8/2023 and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, same?
Aye.
Was that a yes?
Aye.
5-0. Thank you, council. Next on the agenda is to approve the claims.
So, isn't there, did I see two claims documents? Or one's check register, I guess, so. Well, I guess that's claims. So.
How many documents
Oh,
do you
they're over
have?
there? You got them, okay.
So there's a check register on the email from yesterday, last updated agenda and check register for PD claims, February 8th, 2023. That went out yesterday. That's one document. And then there is list of claims, Excel sheet. And I guess that's on the table as well. But the Excel is from that same email that we were looking at the 2 minutes documents from.
Okay.
So if I remember correctly, the check register we already approved last time.
Donna says it's a new one.
This is dated the 1st through the 28th. Is that correct? We're not to the 28th of February yet.
So on the left, Lotus and Warwick, service fees, consult reports, 2,300.
Yes.
That is for the whole year at once, or is that to get a square from setup and last year?
That was to get, I've noted, I've highlighted it there in yellow, Stephen, and that was to take care of all of the things from the end of the year, the fourth quarter taxes, the W-2s, and there was several hours of work there picking up some of the unfinished work from last year
Okay.
that we had help with their CPA. And as I talked to Joanne today, the rest of those, our second, third, and the fourth quarter of this year, of course, will be picked up with the 300, the normal fee.
Mm-hmm.
So. And as you can see on that the piece that Chris has there, they actually gave us a pretty good discount off that item, which is not noted on your computer list. You'll have to look at that, the other sheet that I have there.
You want to look at it first?
One thing to note, it doesn't make a lot of difference, but CenturyLink actually is just phones. Not internet. The internet actually we get for free is an agreement for local having their equipment in the basement. Just, yeah, internet's free, but CenturyLink is just phones. And that bill will hopefully be going away within the next 2 months. I have no further questions on the Excel document. Guess we're not in discussion. Move to approve the claims.
I think you seconded it. didn't you?
Did we already move it or motion and second on that?
No, we don't.
Okay, then I will second.
Thank you.
Were you being snarky, David? Or?
Yeah, no, I don't.
Okay. I thought I had already too. So
That's why I go.
it ran through my mind.
You could have, but I didn't hear it over
No, I
here.
didn't. I don't think it came out of my mouth.
I took out the listening devices before I came, so this, no, I did. Yes, I did. No,
So we're doing the Excel document, we're not doing the check register, correct? Are we,
I think we're doing both.
my only question is the check register. It says 2/1/23 to 2/28/23. Is that, are we the right month?
Yeah.
are you looking on this one sheet, David? I'm
No.
not sure where you're at there.
It's the one that comes up sideways on your computer.
This is for
Well-
2-1.
Actually, I don't have
I know,
that
but it
computer
says
here. That
to
must not have been a
2/28,
Word
so
file,
we're
huh?
not even to
Or
the
a
28th
PDF?
of February yet.
It's just a copy of what.
It's the check register we're talking about, right?
Yes.
You want to see what we're looking at here, Jess?
Just tell me what the first number or the first thing is.
Transaction 47, Harrington Truck and Auto.
Yeah? Okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's the one I couldn't figure out.
It's the one that's sideways.
Yeah.
You have to get two mirrors.
Let's see if I can do it this way. and then
However
it's-
that happens. But the dang thing changes it.
Every
Turns it
time,
upside
yeah.
down. Nice.
Actually, I lied. Late fees, 71.55 on the Excel.
Yeah,
That's
been
late.
several late fees as of late.
And I just, which late fee, who are we paying the fee to?
I'm gonna have to pull that one up. Go ahead, Donna.
The Visa bill.
Okay. So we were late to paying off the credit card.
Checks were written late, or it was late.
Okay. And that, I'm guessing that came from that whole kerfuffle with when we were trying to get the checks printed and didn't have the access? Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
This is a little different, but on the check register, transaction number 53, the U.S. Bank Visa bill, it says open 12/3/22, closed 1/4/23. What does that mean?
The check register are the bills that were paid that were paid.
You see what I'm saying?
last council
What?
meeting.
Okay, so that is what Joe was mentioning then.
So that doesn't show up on my,
Okay, so the check register is what we approved last time, but I think the comment that it's new is that it was newly printed. I
Okay.
think is the resolution between all that. But it's not new in that it wasn't the first time we've seen them.
Okay. I'm just having fun.
So I've gone back and looked, and yes, the check register that we got in our email is the same one that we looked at the last meeting 2 weeks ago. And even then, when I go back another month ago, those numbers were part of our claims that we approved in our January 25th agenda, in the January 25th claims.
Mm-hmm.
We approved all those expenses that show on that check register. We saw the check register last meeting, just as an informational to see that it was done. So it being in this meeting again is like the third time we've seen those numbers.
No wonder they look familiar, huh?
These are from the 8th.
Back to the late fees on claims. That's plural, so there's more than one fee here, right?
I think Don is looking.
You saw this.
You said that claims more than one, or sorry, late fees, plural, more than one late fee.
There were several invoices that had balances for us, but we removed those because they were paid and they were paid late.
Okay.
Not all of them had late fees.
Okay. And have we identified and resolved the causes of why those were late so that we aren't late going forward?
We're going to do everything we can to prevent that from happening.
Okay.
Did we attempt to mitigate those at all? In one of our meetings, we kind of said we were gonna look into those and not just pay them when they show up.
That's
Beg
correct.
for mercy on our part, basically.
I would have to have that list in front of me, and I don't have it here.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay, where are we at anyways?
On this
Just
one?
Discussing.
Late fee on the visa.
Yeah.
I do have one question on the claims spreadsheet. Is the Avista bill at 7,000 plus, is that more than 1 month, or is that a single month?
Should be a single month.
Can you hear me?
He asked if the Avista bill was more than 1 month or a single month.
7,082, that's 1 month, last month.
Yeah, that's 1 month.
Okay. Whew, it's getting high.
Well, we've,
Yeah.
yeah.
They've raised their rates.
I mean, they've raised the electrical rates, and almost nothing that the city owns that uses electricity is efficient at doing so.
Yeah, our pumps use an extreme amount of electricity.
Yeah, the pumps, I mean, even, I did some napkin math a while back that I figured that these lights probably alone use about $400 to $500 a month just for these lights. So because of their age and the old magnetic ballasts that are in them, and then there's the shop lights, and yeah, I mean, there's the city lights. I guess this bill wouldn't include the Lions Club street lights, but when those are on, those go on the city's bill because they plug into the street lamps.
Aren't they LEDs?
One string is. There's a whole sordid story with that. That if Dusty Ostrich ever hears this, I'm sure he's going to give me much grief for. But yeah, one string is.
Pump number 1, the water pump down there,
Right.
is about $700 a month to run that. Just that unit alone. It's amazing what that costs. And the one that's right here next to the bank building even costs more when it's on.
Huh.
And there's waste pumps.
wastewater treatment pumps.
Yep.
Yeah, when I looked at those bills for our pumps alone, it's amazing what those things cost. But that's the difference between a 50 and a 100 horse motor.
Yeah.
Are they separate? They have their own meters?
Pardon
Are
me?
they
Yes,
metered
they have their
separate?
own meters.
Okay.
The lights in the Memorial Hall, the section where the senior meals meets has been changed to LED years back, but the rest of them are all fluorescent. And every time I've walked by in the last month and saw the lights left on in there, that's all running. So
Well, I know the lights and furnace and everything were left full throttle on in the city shop before. I don't know if that's still a practice or not.
I'm usually there once a day, and when I find the garage door open, I'm a pretty good person that turns the heat off on you.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't, the meter reads are not there for the Avista bills? In that pamphlet with all the bills? No?
Just invoice, but it's on my desk.
I'll let us get to the approval, but I just had a thought in the middle of this discussion about something we might be able to do for that, so put it in addition to the agenda for me at the end there. I'll tie it into the rest of my tech stuff, but yeah. $7,000 for a month is probably higher than I've seen, but not out of range given the increases in electrical prices and that also should be our natural gas bill in that as well. So
Avista, that's correct.
anyone who has natural gas for their home knows what's been going on with that lately.
We're in the coldest, darkest months of the year. This is where it's at its highest.
My last 3 bills were double of last year, and I have a quite small home, so.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Yep.
So we've got a motion to accept the claims and a second. No further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 I,
All opposed, the same? Very good. Thank you, folks. Next thing on the list is MKB, the contract for the lawn service. He called me again this week and I told him it was going to be on the agenda for an up or down vote. And I see he's not here. He was talking about showing up, so if you'd like to have discussion on that or make a motion whether we extend that contract, we have paid our last payment as of, well, it got mailed out probably today.
Typically, when do they start?
I'm gonna say April sometime.
Is it April?
It's usually toward the middle or end of April.
Okay, and they run typically through October?
That depends on how the winter goes or the fall goes. Last year, he still owes us a cleaning because last year the weather turned before they got the cleaning done. And we had snow in November and it never left.
Yeah.
So the leaves are there from last year. Those are still due to get picked up.
So Joe, I saw your email. Can you walk us through some of the math that you did?
it was simply this, that for that amount, and that we already need, I'll be straight up, this has to be a team effort. For what we're paying there, I think those resources could be reallocated towards focused on hiring a second public works person, primarily with the purpose of doing the lawn upkeep through those months, but also having that extra hand for public works. I think there's enough money in the budget with a potential $48,000 bill that we could buy proper equipment It's not going to be the $36,000 zero-turn radius machine. I just think we could keep that in town with a greater purpose than this contract.
So how much were you figuring in your estimations? What price were you putting on the new equipment?
I was figuring we could be spending $6,000 or $7,000 for a proper piece of equipment, and as long as it doesn't get abused, it would be able to last us 2 years, if not a lot longer, when properly maintained.
My first inclination is to feel like that's low, but maybe I'm way out of line. Let's see here.
I have a 48-inch lawn tractor, not a zero clearance, and I spent $6,700 for that. Not last Christmas, but the Christmas before. And it's gonna last me at least 20 years, as the previous one I own and still have, which is running. But that's not a zero-turn piece of equipment.
And considering the tight spaces that they would have to navigate in the cemetery, I'm asking you not really as a mayor, but as a person who's mowed at the golf course, what do you think about this whole thing?
Well, I think you could do it with a normal lawnmower, but I'm not a big fan of zero turns. That's just a personal preference. I have 2 lawn tractors, and they work pretty good in tight areas, but you're going to need at least one person on a weed eater picking up all of the areas that the tractor couldn't get, whether it's zero turn or not. But a zero turn with a 25 horse motor on it, those things are $7,000 to $9,000, somewhere there. I'm only speaking of the green ones. I haven't looked. I don't go to Lowe's or that type of place to buy my equipment. I typically buy from an implement dealer.
Are we talking about gasoline-operated mowers and so on, even the weed whackers and all that stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably going to spend, if you go buy a new piece, at least $7,000 to $9,000 or $10,000 for a mower. But that should last you many years.
Well,
if you
I have
take
one
care
that
of it.
I've got.
And same with a weed eater. A weed eater is not $250. You're going to probably spend $600, $700 for a commercial grade weed eater that will be able to run 4 or 5 hours at a time.
It's just nice, though. The battery operated ones are nice.
Batteries are good if you can. You're going to be weed whacking over there for 5+ hours probably. And I'm afraid that wouldn't make it.
Yeah.
Well, at least from what I know about them, maybe they make ones that are industrial grade, or you're going to be buying a lot of batteries. Which they would do. I really can't answer that question for you, whether they make
That's
ones
okay.
for that kind of hours of usage.
What you want is a industrial commercial grade equipment.
Yes.
And my rough figures are going to be, you're going to be between 15 and 20,000 to get set up with the right equipment to
That's
do
the numbers I was already
One mower and
For
one.
both pieces, a mower and a weed eater?
that. Weed eater, mower, push mower, so what you would need to take care of that.
Yeah,
Right off
I
the
agree with
top.
you.
Were they
I'd shoot around
aerating
20.
No, they did not
or
aerate.
thatch?
They don't thatch. And I believe he picks up with the mowers. So in other words, he bags all the leaves and dumps them in a trailer similar to mine there, an 8x10 trailer where you can go over and take and dump into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So probably a third of your budget for the year would be equipment, up just roughly.
Well, I know any type of equipment, whether it's used or new, number one, new is the availability of even getting it. And number two is the used stuff has gone up too. So we're not interested in used per se, but those are I think pretty accurate figures you're going to be looking at. And keep in mind too, there's places that do run under the state contract bid, so that can also help too. But your typical Walmart, Lowe's, any of those homeowner type places that everybody likes to go to, companies build a cheaper version
Specifically
of
for
something.
that.
And yeah, they're not industrial.
That includes John Deere's. The
Yes.
John Deere you buy from Lowe's is not the one you'll buy from
Right.
Pape.
Pape, yeah. Not the same pieces of equipment at all.
No. So, but given that, I mean, it's still would. I like the fact that we'd have somebody dedicated to do that. And I don't know how much you'd want to pull them off or how long it would take that person or persons to do the cemetery and park. Let's just call it lawn mowing job in the summer or for those 7 months. But that would be their job in my eyes. That was what they're hired to do. And
So let's put this together for a sec. So you've got 20 grand in equipment. You're gonna have, what, 10 grand in gas over the course of the season, 5 grand in gas? Depends on the gas price, but I think you're gonna have at least 5 grand in
Yes.
gas.
Yeah, to fill up a 2.5 gallon is 30 plus bucks now.
let's
That's where I
figure.
buy from.
I think 5 is probably safe enough to say it's not outlandish, but you might not go over. So you got 25 with equipment and gas, and then you've got minimum wage for a person is what now? Is it
7 or
16 something.
16?
I think it's 1754. 16 or
No, I think it's
1754.
16.50.
It's 1574.
74.
Yeah.
1574. So that means that you're going to be paying 31 in salary plus probably another 9 in benefits. So say 40 grand for the person. So you've got 25 grand for the equipment and gas, and 40,000 for the person is 65 grand in the first year, but that equipment doesn't get replaced every year. So,
Are we figuring a full-time year-round employee?
well, I think that was the argument, right, is that then they would be available for Public Works too the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Because I think if you try to do seasonal, you're going to have more trouble with getting consistency. I don't think.
Well,
There
the
was
flip of the coin, I think, because we only truly need it done 7 months of the year.
well, but
If you dedicate them and pay them enough, that's their job. If you want to hire another person, then that gets us back into the same. In other words, the only problem I see with that, they're tied up doing stuff with Troy or doing other stuff when they should be mowing. We'll be chasing our tail.
well, you just have to mean that they're PW2 with a priority towards mowing. They would only get to do PW2 work when they're not mowing. But I think if you say you've got a full-time job 7 months of the year, I don't know that you're going to find a large selection of people who want to do that. That's hard to make a living off of that. They can't supplement, find a 5 month a year job to get the other side of that for minimum wage. Jess isn't looking to mow more lawn than he already is, so you could pay the person more to try and make it worth 7 months, but then it closes the gap in that the 5 months that you're not paying then becomes cheaper because you're paying them more the 7 months they are working.
We are gonna need a second person when it comes to doing water leak jobs,
Yeah.
which is maybe a week and a half of what I see right now. We've got 3 of them, one on Willis, one down here on Third, a little ways. We've got to do a couple other houses, so we need probably a week and a half's worth of somebody time.
Well, there's no argument with that.
Troy can't run some of those pieces of equipment with one man. We got
No.
a safety issue there.
I think I've already asked you this question, but nobody's beating down our doors to work here, obviously.
Sorry to throw that in there, but no, they're not.
So,
The problem is they can go and make hamburgers for close to $20 an hour now.
Mm-hmm.
So
It can be
minimum
a
wage.
Walmart greeter for $20 an hour.
Yeah, the
And get better benefits.
the people that we might be getting are getting another $1 to $2 over minimum wage.
the only other part of this equation that I haven't talked to this fellow from MBK, or MKB.
MKB,
Yeah.
Anthony Brown.
Anthony, thank you. Sorry, Anthony, if you're listening.
Would you like to have him on the phone if it would be possible?
Well, here's my suggestion, is if I have a big problem of how much we've been paying in 12 months of the year for only 6 months of work, or 7 months of work. So if we can get him to work, how much per month? In other words, if he'll do it for $41 a month, $4,100 a month, pay the 7 months and be done with it until we get all our ducks in a row.
I think what he's done is he's given you a bid and then he breaks it into 12 months.
I know, I'd like that too.
Well, I mean, it's his bid is his bid, whether,
Right.
But it's still, if you look back, and I spoke with Joe on this, if you do the math, it's just right around, between just south of $7,000 a month worth of work.
I can't
I
answer
mean,
that. I'd have to see
that
all
seems
that.
awful high to me to do the cemetery, and we squeal at getting other help. But I mean, if you look at, I don't know how much a crew he has or anything like that, but it just seems pretty high.
I think he's got like 5 guys. I am extremely concerned about the cost of the cemetery
Period.
to the city, period.
Yeah.
And one of my biggest concern is not 2022, it's 2025. Boy, this is just gonna keep going like this. All you gotta do is,
So here's where I'm at. I'm willing to give it a go. I think my biggest concern is that I don't really want to see this be added another thing that the mayor would have to watch over. I don't know that Troy is
Divide 100.
interested or well positioned to ride herd over that in a PW1 capacity. And
39.
so I guess my question is, who's going to go up there and check it and say this is what needs to be done and set the workload and that kind of stuff.
You can hire a high school kid for about $20 an hour if they're dedicated
I
to do
think
that.
there could be a utility in looking at trying to bring back the cemetery board that once was.
Well, you understand that.
We have kind of a pseudo cemetery board now in that there's the 3 gyms and a stand that have been talking about things and doing things. We've tried to be better with the library board, and even library board's different because there are RCWs that define our relationship with the library board, but I think we as a council have tried to get better about when someone else comes and volunteers their time, we give them some autonomy. I would be open to a similar discussion with the cemetery board and to say that they could have some oversight and authority into this person we would hire to say, you need to be doing a better job with that, or maybe the next week we should be doing this and that kind of stuff. Because I think for a minimum wage employee, I think it could be asking a lot to expect them to not only do the work, but to tend it well. So,
To be able to prioritize, having never done it before.
right. And I think we've got other things still on our plate that we're going to be transitioning through right now that I don't really like the concept of saying, well, we'll do it ourselves and then we'll expect Jess to ride herd over it. I don't really think that's fair. At least with MKB, it hasn't been complaint-free, but there's also been some kudos given to it, and so it kind of takes care of itself. So I'm saying, to me, there's the money, which I think it works, assuming that our equipment lasts a number of years. I think you can depreciate that over enough years that monetarily this works. It probably protects us to the upside a bit, especially with the regulations that are hitting small businesses these days. It's maybe easier for the city to try and absorb some of those impacts instead of trying to place it upon small businesses. They're going to continue to get hit by things coming out of Olympia. So I'm okay with that, but I'm. Any thoughts? Am I the only one that has that concern?
No, really.
I've had that concern. My concern is I don't want this to become solely the mayor's issue. I think, like I said to begin with, this is a team effort. This is all of us. So we need to work together to come up with a plan, incorporate what Stephen's talking about, work together to get a second public works employee. It can't be just. It's not fair for us to stand back here and dictate how it's going to be done and expect somebody to just hop to and get to it. That's unrealistic in this town, especially.
Yeah.
My addition to the conversation is that I don't think we've given ourselves enough time.
Well,
You know,
to
you
make a decision on this?
Well, you said to Anthony, we'll have an answer for you tonight.
Well,
But
we've been working on this for a month and a half. Last night, when he called me, he said, if I don't get an answer, I'm going to start selling the time. And he's well within his thinking, it's been going on. I understand his position. And I said, I agree with you, and I will make that point clear.
Yeah, because he's got a month and a half to decide what to do with that slot.
Have we reached out to anybody else, solicited any
No, I
other?
have not.
At the time, I believe hearing that they were the only ones who bid back when.
They were.
Yeah.
They were it.
There was a couple, but then they came and they backed out and he became the only one. And he was late getting in then, and that's why Justin at that time made that contract with him, and he had to lock him into 3 years. And if you remember, it was like an 18% increase that we all looked at and started shaking our heads about, but there was a reason why he had to do that.
Yeah.
Because he gave us a much decreased price the first year, and then
And to make up his-
then it kind of came in the next 3 years, which we've just finished.
Imagine that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, people don't. Well,
So I'll let you know, I have reached out to some of, and I'm going to be straight up and honest, they're my clients. So I've not pushed because I don't want a conflict of interest. But casually mentioning a rough number of what's been presented, they've all thought, maybe they don't fully appreciate what they're getting into, but all of them thought it was on the high side.
Yeah.
I would love to see the cemetery start
well, that's the next question.
paying some of this expense.
And they should, when we start discussing Sage isn't here tonight, but that's in one of our near future meetings, we're gonna have to tangle with that endowment fund. Does anybody have an idea how much we made in interest last year?
No, I didn't get
You
a
know the
chance to
ballpark?
talk to.
It was at
Last
least
year was a pretty poor, I think, only because of the amount of time that we had it in there.
It made a number of thousand in the last number of months.
Yeah, more than the minus
6
11 it
or
was
8
making.
grand, something like that. It was in for only a part of the year, but I mean, the cemetery is already paying for part of the bill, and the budget, part of the MKB bill was coming out of the
Yeah.
cemetery fund.
Yeah.
We should have.
Yeah.
And then another thing that I think took a big chunk of that in the coming year is just maintenance on the cemetery that has not been done in years. Now these trees have approached the time when they've lived their life expectancy. So for the last 50 years or however long those trees have been growing, it's been fine. Now they have reared their ugly heads that they're at the end of their life frame.
So, are we going to accept it or are we going to decline it?
Did we, I see executive session, we weren't gonna talk about this in executive.
Can't.
No,
I don't, at least, not,
it could be a workshop item.
Well, the only thing is, what's our contingency plan here if we say no? My only question to the guys is if they'll do it by the month this year.
not at the same price.
Yeah, probably not at the same price. According to him, and I can't, I'm not judging anything about the price. If he were, he would probably raise the price by, I'm gonna say, if you took 4 of those months and he would divide that up and put it on the 7.
It'll
Well,
be
I'll
the
just-
same over the year.
If I got the straight, if I got it right from Odessa, the deputy clerk there, I think it was deputy clerk, they're paying a guy, retired guy, I believe, $6,700 to mow their cemetery all summer long. To give you some kind of idea. And I can follow up on that, and anybody can tomorrow. To give you a ballpark. And the footprint, it's pretty close.
This is 7 acres, I can't tell you what that is. 6.7 acres, the one down there, I don't know. It sits out in the middle of the field, the one with the tank in the middle there. At Odessa. It's on the right side, right across from the golf course, basically.
Right. So is this one almost. Same exact middle of the field across the.
So if we don't
Right.
accept that bid, then we have 2 options. One is to try to solicit other bids, like even from a private citizen like what Odessa is doing. Or we need to start getting in line for acquiring the equipment to do it ourselves because it might not be so easy to acquire as it used to be before COVID. It's gotten a bit better, but
I gotta believe the dollar figure of equipment we're looking at. I didn't have any problem getting the one I bought, and I bought the high end
yeah,
of a homeowner stuff, which most
Yeah.
people wouldn't spend the money for.
right.
Most people wanted to spend half of what I spent on what they say is the same thing.
Same color of paint.
Huh?
Same color of paint.
Yes, that's,
So
yeah,
the
you know,
problem-
Checks the steel underneath it.
The problem I see is that I don't know that we would necessarily have the time to try for both approaches, to put it out to solicit bids, and to fall back on doing it ourselves, because we have to acquire personnel and equipment if we do it ourselves, and if we put it out for bid, we have to do some legwork to find some people, and then leave the bid open for a while, and then have time to discuss it. April's going to be here pretty soon, so I think if we decline this bid for MKB, we have to decide which one are we going to do. Are we going to try and depend on putting it out for bid and then scramble if we don't get the bids that we like, or are we going to just decide to do it for ourselves, and from this decision onward, start acquiring equipment and people? Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we can do
No,
both.
that's,
But
I'm just thinking,
How long of a contract does he want? I didn't see that. Anybody?
I think I would say minimum a year, but
I think it was a year.
yeah.
That's what I thought.
I can't answer that.
Oh, man.
Do you want to know the answer to that question? Does that help make a decision?
Well, that, and if he would, I'll go back to this, just pay for the service as he does it. And I can't imagine.
But David, if he agrees to do that and he raises the price so that it's the same over the year, I'm assuming you're out at that point, right?
Well, if he wants, okay, he's at his price right now. That's what he's charging. If he charges $7,000 a month to do it, are we in or out? Is that too much for us?
For 10 months or 7 months or something?
For 7.
Well, I don't,
Joe, your thoughts on that?
It's the same number.
I know, but in other words, try and buy some time so we can get, you know,
So have them at a monthly instead of a yearly basis, so if we are able to do that.
just pay for the months.
Well,
see
but
what you're
he's
saying.
still
It's
gonna
still
want
the
a
same.
year
Yeah,
contract,
he's,
because he wants to sell the whole season. He's not gonna leave himself open to having a whole bunch of hours suddenly in July.
I don't follow you on that one.
Yeah, I
He's trying to
don't,
lock
Oh,
in.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
what you're saying.
I don't know that it was an attempt by him to put pressure on us or not, but he said he had people, a pretty good list of people who are looking for.
He's got people coming to him asking him to do it.
Yes, correct.
He's not going out drumming up business.
Yeah. Apparently, there's not a lot of people that are in this sort of business around here that are big enough to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, he has 5 guys, and I think he told me he was paying them like 22 an hour now.
he's got an ad out in the paper for
And the-
another one.
Does he?
No.
And the reason he said that sounds high, I said, well, it sounds a little high for mowing the lawn. Can I work for you instead of the golf course?
No.
And he said yes. But at any rate, he said that's what it takes to keep the kind of people who don't trash his equipment. And people that will show up every day, which is one of my biggest concerns about.
That's my
'Cause
biggest concern.
We've tried PW2 a couple times, right? At
Yes,
least a couple
well-
times?
Well, one that we had for several months, and that was not a good experience.
Right. And that's,
You know, times have changed in that respect.
equipment we can buy.
Yeah,
Personnel we cannot necessarily acquire.
But that's the sticking point right there.
There's 5 councilmen, councilwomen, but we don't run
I'm
a lot.
on my own lawn, I'm not gonna mow anybody else's.
so I can tell you my time has diminished drastically. And it's gonna get better for the next couple months here. My house is being impacted because Donna starts school here. Well, the schooling has been, the dates now, she needs to put in the dates and they'll start populating that. And so that's gonna be probably 2 months worth of that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which, when half of my house comes here, that means I stay here home till 10 o'clock in the morning, and then from 10 till noon, we both are here, and then in the afternoon, we're both here typically, but. So I don't have a whole lot of time to spend,
Nope.
definitely not mowing.
Well, typically, what I have seen, my experience has brought me is that hiring it out is a convenience.
Yeah.
And typically, if you have money to burn, to do it. If you invest in yourself, in the long run, it's going to be cheaper. For many different reasons. But, in other words, quality and care, timing, and somebody here, the availability to not just show up, it needs to be mowed on a Monday instead of a Wednesday,
Right.
or what have you. I'm all for that, but places that do, contract that out, usually have some funds to burn that way. And you've seen that, it's just gonna go up and up and up and up.
Okay, so I think here's where I'm gonna land.
Right.
I'm gonna move that we accept the bid. However, I will work towards trying to put us in the position that we do not do so next year. What that entails is I think I'll help in whatever way I can to establish a PW2 so that we're not trying to hire a PW2 in the course of a couple months. Historically, we've had a PW1 and a PW2. Let's try and get a PW2 that's reliable on board now, and then next season we can say we've already got the person. We've known them. They're past the probationary period. We've seen months of work. They're a known quantity. Their salary is a known quantity, and we'll transition and reprioritize their time into doing the lawn mowing. Then we can acquire equipment. And at the same time, I think what we can do is approach the 3 gyms in a stand
and say if there's any interest, ask if there's any interest in forming a formal cemetery board, so that they would be in a position to help supervise that next year. I like the idea of transitioning off. I am just not feeling like we are prepared to do that jump this quickly. And I don't like the idea of spending that much money over the next year, but I think it's a necessary evil to get us positioned for next season.
I think, to sum that up, we're over a barrel.
Right.
At the
We-
moment.
So
we
you're
are,
asking if you were to say yes as a group, that he accept a 1-year contract?
1 year.
Okay, that would be what I would have to ask
We
him.
may not be able to hire anybody else, you know, if we decide not to do the contract.
Do you need to know that information to make a decision? Tonight?
The 1-year contract question, you mean?
Yes.
I mean, it should be in his estimate, right? I think.
I didn't really see it stand out. That's what I was asking.
Let me see if I can find it.
And again, I can understand where he's coming from with the price. That's
Yeah.
what he has to charge us to do the job. I'm
Well,
not
he's in business.
begrudging him that at all.
I understand.
Well, the fact that we don't have, he's local, isn't he? Out of
Davenport, yep.
So, but we don't have anybody else to compare it to, for one. Except our own.
His equipment
Yeah.
is out here. Just this side of,
So MKB right here,
what's her face?
February 8th.
Where they're,
Sarah?
yeah,
Okay,
Sarah.
from April 1st, 2023 to March
Yeah.
1st,
Oh, yeah.
2024.
He's got all of his
That's his
equipment out
equipment
there,
out there.
yeah.
The total
Just
of the quote
headquarters.
was $41.40
Mhm.
a month, times 12.
And it does say from April 1st, 2023 to March 1st, 2024. So that's one year
One
season.
Prorating it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like getting caught like this, but, you know, right now, without any other options. And I don't have time to go mow it myself.
No.
Even if I did, I wouldn't do it.
Joe, are you seeing a way for us to reliably get this ready in the next couple months?
Yeah, I hate that we're in the 9th hour, but I do. I'm inclined to roll the dice. Find our employee, the right one, and if I'm wrong, there are other contractors out there, and maybe we don't have it mowed every single week to keep our costs down. But I want to point out, from a budget point of view, we're talking about a contract that is twice the amount that we budgeted for this. And maybe we undershot when we were setting the budget, but twice on the budget is an awful lot.
Yeah, that's true.
I would contend to agree with Joe on rolling the dice on that.
But I will say, from a budget standpoint, if you want to talk about this year's budget, I don't think that doing this is going to be better for this year's budget. It may be better for next year's budget when that equipment is paying off over years, but I think you're going to spend more in 2023 budget-wise than you would have otherwise. But I get your point.
And I very well could be underestimating what the equipment is going to cost us to do this. Like I said in my email, I don't think we're getting gouged based on the volume of people and the equipment that he has and what have you. I think he's probably, in his business model, he's right on board with where he needs to be, and that's to his credit. I'm just looking at the overall cost and feeling like we have to find a different solution. And we'll be forced into it. If we don't take it, we'll be forced into coming up with a different solution. And maybe that's a wake-up call for all of us.
Well, I made a motion. I guess I'm not even sure which way I'd vote on my own motion, but maybe the easiest way to see where we're at as a council is if it has a second. Well, I'm not even sure if I'll vote for my own motion, but
You wanna
we should
carry it through and vote it down
let's
then?
take it to a vote. If someone will second it, or if it dies for lack of a second, I guess that's it.
We can second it and then discuss, and just vote yea or nay. If it goes down,
Yeah.
if it goes down, we just come up with another one.
Yeah.
I'll second it then. And
I think I need a blank piece of paper here. So we got a motion to accept his offer as on a 1-year, well, for a 1-year term. That's by Stephen.
Yeah.
Seconded by David. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to accept MKB's bid for lawn service for the next 12 months.
I didn't want to just shout that out, but
Any further discussion on that?
no.
Joe?
No further discussion, I'm good.
Okay. All in favor of accepting the motion to have MKB as our contractor for an additional year, say aye. All opposed?
Aye.
I,
Okay, that's 5-0. The motion fails.
okay,
That's the way to do it.
here's just a question.
That's the
No,
formal way to
well,
do
it's saying
it.
that fails,
I'm a little worried there.
so unless anybody else wants to make a motion, we're moving on in the agenda.
Move on.
I think there's,
Okay. That sounds,
I'll just say that there's some stuff that hasn't been revealed tonight.
So
that-
before we fully move on,
Okay.
committees are at the mayor's behest,
mhm.
but who is willing to serve on a committee with me to, because if we're gonna do this, which we all just committed to, we better get our act together real quick. So,
I would like to see a workshop with everybody to discuss this.
okey-doke.
I think that would be more productive.
Well, if there's more than 2 of us, it has to be a workshop anyways, so.
Right.
6 PM workshops before meetings until we've got a handle on this.
I'm totally down with workshops. I mean, like I said, we've got to work as a team to figure this out.
Do we want to have just to pick a day? My original thought on workshops was to have 1 or 2 of them and then just 1 council meeting a month. That we work everything out and then we get to council, the agenda's ready for us and we can go. Your
Well,
thoughts on that?
I think we just absorbed a whole bunch more work. Maybe we can do that in 3 months, but I think, to me, I want to see if we can get a cemetery board in place, because I think, to your point, Jess, about your availability, we're going to have to make sure this doesn't fall on Jess as much as possible. And in some ways, I'm not sure if the council is the best positioned group of people to ride herd over the cemetery, because there is a group of men that are more concerned with it than we've been,
And have time.
and have at least the time to have willingly and voluntarily discussed it.
Mhm.
So I think and then if they are interested in it, then we're going to have to look at the cemetery board creation, the past document that created it before, probably talk to Bingaman to get a new one drafted up. What are the parameters that they operate under? Do they have any control or influence over budget? What is the relationship that they have with our personnel and the prioritization schedule, the structure that goes on with that? We're going to have a lot of things to hash out. So,
I think you need more than a 1-hour workshop.
I think so, half an hour.
Pardon me?
More than it, well, you said 6 o'clock?
6 to
Yeah,
7.
6 to 7.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
is only half an hour by the time you,
I would agree with that, and that's,
I think you probably need 3 hours worth of We've just spent, I don't know, well over an hour on just this.
One time. Yeah.
Joe, since you've been writing the calls, the job descriptions and advertisements, if the council and the mayor does not object, Joe, would you be interested to get that started for PW2 as soon as possible?
Yeah, I would be happy to. I would like, council input, but it's got to have a very short window. So I can put something together, submit it, but it's got to be looked at and commented on quickly before we pull the trigger.
Yeah, for sure.
Mr. Mayor, what do you want to do? You're the chair here. What do you see
Well, it
happening?
sounds to me like you've decided which direction we're gonna go.
I mean, we would
Are you asking me my thought on it or what?
Everything.
I think we're going down the wrong road here to do this in this manner. And the reason I say that is I just personally think we're gonna struggle getting the people. That's one of the number one things. I think we can come up with the equipment. I think you're gonna struggle finding somebody that's gonna show up on a daily basis. We've talked about this at pretty good length outside of this facility with the times I've talked to people, and the times we're living in have changed dramatically. And I just have this nightmare of people banging on the door and calling my phone, the lawn or the cemetery looks terrible. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah. Well, you can't please everybody.
Well, I realize that too. I'm fully aware of that. So that's my biggest concern.
Right, and it's a concern validated. Would you also agree that we need more than, I envision us having a day, where, either Saturday or we pick them, the workshops
Yeah.
that we take, and we all have time. It could be anything that works for us and all the stuff. I do know, I believe I was told by some financial gurus that we do need a cemetery board or some people in charge of that endowment to have the tax exemption in place. We do need a cemetery board.
I've heard from several people who spend a lot more time looking at investments than I do. I don't have that's not my fondest thing to look at those all day long. But there's several people who seem to think we could be capturing a considerable amount more money
I know.
on a regular basis without a great deal of risk.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in the not risking capital point in my life, so. But some people think there's considerably more money to be made without a lot of risk.
So, Joe, are we legally required to post the salary now? Has that change gone into effect?
Well, it's gone into effect because the city has fewer than, I think the law was 15 employees. We technically do not have to follow that.
Correct.
So my input would just be post it without a salary for now.
I can make it so. Sure.
That's just one person, because I don't think we have time right now to deliberate over the salary, and I think what we're gonna pay might have some relationship with just how many candidates we get and how trustworthy they seem to be. In rolling the dice with this, we might have just committed ourselves to, but the one thing that will be good, I guess, is that if we do have to pay more for a PW2 than we thought, they're not just a lawnmower. They're also the person that can help Troy with a lot of various things. So I think we're going to be paying more for salary for this person mowing the lawns than we thought. But at least that will have some other benefits attached to it. So I'd say I'm just one voice, but I'd say post it and let's see what kind of interest the bait gets on the hook.
Money will definitely help with responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I personally want to see that posting, the council to look at it before it goes out.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So are you going, this is going to be a part-time individual?
Full-time.
So we're talking insurance. We don't have any insurance in place
right now.
right now.
Well,
Have you heard from the people at AWC finally?
It's in place.
I know we got charged $950 this month, but it's been an ongoing daily thing.
She said it's in place.
But it's in place now? Okay, well, that's good.
Is that Labor and Industries Insurance
No,
or,
it's through AWC.
and what is AWC?
That's,
Association of Washington Cities.
Oh, okay.
thank you.
What are you guys talking about? We're not
Yeah,
familiar
I'm-
with any of this.
Well, if we're gonna hire a person for,
Right.
let's just say $20 an hour, that's not what we're doing, but, so then are you going to offer them insurance too?
Right, yeah, I understand that, but I don't know what you guys were referring to on a side note over
Talking about the
here
package.
of a
Insurance
$900.
package.
Well, that was already on the bill, you approved it. We paid our first premium
To AWC,
to AWC.
right. But that's not the insurance you're talking about. You're talking about health insurance, right?
Yes, that is what I'm talking about.
Who are we paying health insurance on?
On Donna.
Okay. Well, no, there's so much stuff that goes on and that's why I want council to get together and enough chicanery going on that we all know.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into all of this.
I mean, because we're getting down to nut cutting time here, and it's a serious business. And that's why I want the workshops, and every councilman show up. Council member, sorry. But it can be done, I think. We can get this.
Okay, are we ready to move forward?
Almost. If we're gonna do a workshop, what are we talking about?
Workshops, Joe. My proposal is to have multiple workshops a month to pound this stuff out so we get to meetings, we don't spend 5 hours, or 4 hours, 3 hours, that we're prepared and we can present it, vote on it. We have our ducks in a row, clean things up a little bit.
So can we do one next week?
I can.
Yeah.
Next Wednesday?
Next Wednesday, the March 1st.
At 7?
They don't necessarily have to be on a Wednesday either. That's kind of my proposal. We can make them
Wednesday is fine for me.
whatever works for everybody.
And to clarify,
Yeah, for
you
me-
don't have to be here.
For me, 6 or 7 on Wednesday would be perfect.
Wednesday, 6 or 7, okay.
Let's do next Wednesday at 6 and see how it goes. And then maybe we can move to 7 after that.
You got that, Donna? Good. Thank you. Gotta trust the clerk on this one.
Done with our discussion? Joe?
I don't know even where we're at
Yes,
anymore.
yes, 6 o'clock next Wednesday, and I don't think Donna has to be there. It's,
No.
we're
No.
not taking notes.
Right.
So,
It's a workshop, so it wouldn't need to be.
And we can do everything except take action.
Correct.
Yep.
But it is still an open public meeting,
Yeah,
so.
yes, public workshop is what it should say.
We don't
Yeah.
have to entertain anything from
Open
the floor.
public workshop.
Yep.
So for the record, we voted the contract down, correct, for MKB?
Yep.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
And it sounds to me like the next item on the agenda we just solved, we're gonna start our first workshop. So
And-
we talked about having one or more a month. I think that's a good thing to beat up at the workshop too.
Yep.
Okay.
And I think we kind of got the website, that'll be discussed at, I'm guessing at workshops,
So the next
right?
one, next on the agenda is the discussion concerning the website. So that's,
Yeah, so, I mean, let's see what he comes back. To be clear of what this is or isn't, at $500 a year, he's talking about building a website and then saying, here it is,
at least the impression that I got is that training us how to use it would be extra time. If he had to update it, that'd be extra time. So that was $500 a year. I think he said hosting was included at that point, but we have our own hosting, so it would maybe be less than $500. But to be clear, that would be to take Harrington City as it is and turn it into the first version of something that fulfills our needs. That has no ongoing obligation on his part from what I heard from what he said. $500 is not, in my opinion, unreasonable for that, but I just want to make sure this council is clear that price is not an ongoing solution to what we do with our website necessarily. He said he could use our existing hosting and WordPress, which would probably help us because we're already paying for DreamHost so that we get our emails, which is also the library's emails and that kind of stuff, because his hosting package that he was talking about wouldn't include emails with it. So it's nice to use the hosting that we already have.
Do you see any problem with this hosting? Could we put all the stuff we want on it? I mean, what I mean, explain, if you could, why do we really need him? This guy.
Why do we need him?
I mean,
because
or that service, let's say. Not,
yeah, well, we don't. The difference, I guess, of it is because there's already a WordPress site there now. If you go to http://harrington.city, it will bring up a unconfigured basic WordPress site that looks like nothing to do with the city. He would take that and he would give it a theme and put pictures and text on it that makes it look like someone actually did something with it. What he would be doing would be the same thing that if we tried to do it ourselves, that probably myself, maybe some assistance from Joe at some points because he's more technical with that potentially, and I'm not volunteering him. That probably mostly me and a little bit of other people would do that same work. So whether you pay $500 to him to do it or you have me volunteer the time, someone is doing the initial setup. Then whoever's done the initial setup, we have the question of how does it get maintained? Me, Donna, pay him. Someone's got to actually go in and do the changes whenever we want changes. So $500 for the setup work is really, I guess, just a question of it's probably one of the better bids potentially in the area. So do you want to pay someone to do it, or do you want a council member to volunteer the time?
So I heard him say that he would teach you how to use it. That might be a 2-hour tutorial.
But I'm guessing that's not included in the 500, but I could be wrong.
I thought that's what he said.
Maybe.
But I think he's rather interested.
Yeah, it sounds like he's
in
hungry.
making it, he said,
Making a
his
deal.
comment was, we are just like somebody coming out of school.
Yeah.
We've got all of the schooling we did, and wood shop and all that, and I want to go become a carpenter. But they say you got to have 2 years experience before we'll hire you.
Yeah.
So he's
Here we are.
anxious to get somebody.
I'm interested in, he didn't give his hourly rate for updates. I'm going to be interested to see what he comes back with for the proposal. The thing, because when I talk about volunteering my time to do tech stuff, it's not just my time that I'm defending as a person. It's that when people do things for the city never realizes the cost of what it takes to do them. Mm-hmm. My position is coming up in November. If I was to be voted out, I've tried to have thoughts. Now, I'm not saying that if I was to be voted out, I'd suddenly say, bye, city. I would still, as a citizen of Harrington, try to volunteer my time and contribute. But in theory, let's say I have a car accident and I'm gone, does the city have any concept of what it takes to maintain something that Stephen was just doing for free?
No.
So I am interested to a certain extent for a reasonable bid because it's work that someone has to do that's valuable, to pay them to do that. He's right in that WordPress is potentially less user-friendly for ongoing updates. So anyways, the net of it is this. I think we just need to wait and see what comes from his proposal to see. I think
See where he's at with it.
it's at least a good deal, I think, probably to have him build the site. I don't know what his maintenance prices will be, but at 500, that's not unreasonable to get something off the ground, and it would save me the time that now I can spend otherwise in cemetery work. So, I do know that we have started to use the files.harringtoncity.city a little bit. Joe posted some ordinances and resolutions there. I went over with Donna how to put files there, and I'm sure as more time becomes available for her, that'll probably be something that populates a little bit more. So we are doing more with our website on the files side of it. So, yeah, I guess I'll cap that. Did that kind of answer your question to a certain extent?
Yeah,
Clear as mud?
it's just, I guess what I envision of a site, and I've been on like different towns, cities around Lincoln County, but I don't envision it being a day-to-day poster board that we have to change every day, every week, you know, that it just, here's Harrington, here's the council, here's the mayor, here's our ordinances, here's our charges for this, and, you know, kind of a basic, here's public works, and, you know, that type of stuff.
My hope would be that if we can get the site built the right way, even if it costs a little bit more than $500, when we tie in the files that get automatically populated,
Right, you're talking about.
and a search capability off of that, and then if we have occasional updates, Joe and I can make them, and we don't have any ongoing maintenance costs. But having them give us the leg up for the site, and then if something was to happen to me, at least you can go back to the guy who built it and say, hey, we need help. At least there's a point of contact and someone who's familiar with it. But my thought is that hopefully we can not incur the ongoing costs after the initial setup.
Okay.
But we'll see what he comes up with.
2
Okay,
cents.
thanks. What's
Yeah.
that?
2 cents.
Yeah.
He wasn't driving a brand new shiny black BMW. Sorry about that, Joe. That wasn't meant towards you, Joe.
Joe and his wife do.
No, that was just to say he wasn't driving a brand new fancy car.
Yeah.
So,
You know. So the other things on my updates, I talked to the landlords at the bank building. As you guys can see, there is progress that's going on there. Kaiser is coming next Tuesday to do a variety of things, predominantly with the HVAC system. They have a number of subcontractors lined up that'll be being in and out of there in the next coming days. So their report, I guess, is that things are moving along well, and there's a lot of activity going on over there. If you've walked by and taken a look at what's going on through the windows, you can see that there's a lot of progress in there. There's not necessarily an ETA yet. Speaking with them today, they said it's just kind of a different world than it was before COVID as far as getting materials and getting subcontractors
Everything.
lined up and committing to dates, but they reiterated a number of times that they're very aware that we're wanting to get in there as soon as possible, and they're trying to do their best to speed things up. So that's good. This Friday should be hopefully the final thing on the long saga of trying to get the former library number ported over to that service that will reduce our CenturyLink bill. I learned a lot along the way as far as the peculiarities of 253 numbers. And so I'm glad we started with just doing the library number before we did the city number. I am fairly confident that if and when the time comes, we can do the main city number without nearly as much delay, but there could be a potential of a downtime of a few days.
The relevance to the 253, they won't be able to keep it or something?
No, we can keep it. It's just it takes longer to move. There are certain things that I guess that
digitize?
I didn't realize all of what was involved with this, but most area codes and prefixes are available with a lot of systems. There's some backwaters, is my language, where they aren't plugged in and compatible with a lot of systems. And I found that the 253 is one that is not really well covered, and so there's a series of steps that need to happen in order to get the 253 number out. But the good news in that is that right now we're paying, $100 a line a month, and this will take our costs down to like $10 a year per line, if that. So, and we're gonna have to do something when we move, because either we're gonna have to have the line digital and internet based so that we can move it wherever we have an internet connection, or we're going to have to call CenturyLink and have them move the main city line from here to the US Bank, which we can't do.
They should by flip switch down in the building.
Yeah, so we're going to have to do some level of preparation for that and potential downtimes and stuff. So, but anyways, the good news is that pretty soon that monthly cost should be reducing, I think. I made the flyer for putting out in the next commerce packet. I'm circulating that to get some feedback. I can actually show that to you here if you guys wanted to see it as well. It's just talking about the YouTube channel, info and alerts, mailing lists. So that's hopefully going to be, should be ready to go by the 3rd. And I think one last thing that I wanted to mention is a heads up that at some point I would like to maybe talk about the logo for the city of Harrington. There has been some discussion, this is not an official position, but the logo that the chamber had come up with of that circle with Harrington, Washington, which is not chamber specific, that they might be open to allowing us to use that. I've felt like the branding that we have for like our letterhead and stuff is not, like for instance, let's say that we like the bid that the website guy comes up with. He's going to say, well, I want some of your brand things so that it makes it look like your website. We don't have really good files that define our letterhead. It's like, we don't want to use those for a website. And I could go into the technical reasons for why, but it's going to look really bad. Tacky. So we need some better looking branding items if we're going to actually have a digital presence, because this is Facebook, we could use the logo on our YouTube, we could use the logos for headers for our emails. Like we could use this in a number of places. So maybe at our next meeting or something, I'd like to talk about maybe, I need to see if the chamber is actually open to the use of that logo that I believe they paid to have done. So they would have right of refusal for it. But if they're open to that, I'd like to maybe think about seeing if we could just adopt that, because it would be a step up from where we are now. And like I said, we contract some digital work, we're going to get prompted for that anyway. So I think the letterhead that we've been using is probably from the straight out of the 90s. So
Maybe earlier than
early
that.
2000s or something. So I think that's my updates. Hopefully I didn't. Oh, no, I lied. There's 2 other items. One, I called the Vista to see if
Thank you.
we could get access to the data that they have from our smart meters. I'm still waiting for calls back because I'm getting routed through their technical division, but what this has to do with is the instances where we get caught with our pump off, which I think has happened 3 times since I've moved back to town. And they're just accidents. I think the last I heard after a water repair, it just didn't get turned back on. Well, the thing is, those draw such a big amount of electricity. If we could know what Avista knows because of the smart meters, we could tell when the pumps are running and when they're not. And we could tell when the last time either pump ran. So if I could just get access to the data they already have, I can program something that will check to see, like, has it been an hour since either of the pumps run? You know, they cycle on and off, but they shouldn't both be off for an extended period of time. And if they are, I can send out a text message to Jess and Troy and whoever else and say, go turn the switch on. And then that way we won't be out of water.
It's not running.
Yep. So I'm not going to hold my breath, because it doesn't look like on their website anyone talks about getting that data access directly from them. But I'm going to give it a go, because that would be a really nice way for us to stop doing that. And then the last thing is that I called the company that makes our ordinance book. Haven't heard back from them yet either. Might need to give them another call, but I was looking at their website, and apparently, I don't know like what package we already pay for and stuff, but they have an online ordinance finder thing for their website that, like, at least for some of their packages, you go to their website / your name, like Harrington, and then they have a whole thing to search ordinances and to list them and to categorize them and all that kind of stuff on their website. So when I get to talk with them, they might be like, yeah, you already pay for that. By the way, here it is. And if we already have that, I can just hook that into Harrington.city and boom, all of our ordinances are done. They might also tell us that's in a higher level package you don't pay for. I don't know what I'm going to find, because it doesn't seem like anyone knows exactly what we do with this company. So my voicemail that I left them was kind of embarrassing, to be like, hi, I'm a city councilman. I think we pay you money. What do you do for us? So, but you got to start somewhere.
I've done that. But I'm going to start using your name from now on.
Thank you. Yeah.
I believe the last
My name is David Budrius.
Yeah.
the last information I got on that was that they'd reach out to us. They started it in the book, and they were waiting for us to give them more.
Yeah.
So it kind of stands still. Now, what was paid for? What is it? You find out.
Well, and that was another part of my voicemail to them, is to say, I'm not sure we're even up to date with you. So, like, what does it mean for us to get synced up again? So, yeah. Okay, now I think I'm done.
I've given you all a copy of a resolution, which is Resolution 244-2023.
242?
242-2023.
Okay.
And this is in regards to what went on at the last meeting when the council gave me the authority to get together with our lawyer and find out if the library board signing that agreement with the grant for Services and Technologies Act grant, what that would do to the city and if it put us in any financial obligation. And David Budrius wrote this up for us.
Yeah.
David Bingaman.
Same initial.
I talked to him the other day and he said, yes, go ahead and sign the grant. It's not a big problem. And you asked me if I would put together a resolution to that effect that would say that it was all in good shape and put the city in a good standing. And he did. This is it. So you all have a copy there.
And you just need a motion to approve?
So we need a motion to approve it, to discuss it, and
I make a motion to approve the resolution 242-2023 as presented.
I'll second.
okay, we got a motion and a second on the floor. Further discussion?
I'm good with it.
Good.
Yep.
Joe?
I haven't seen it, so
Here, look through your phone.
I'm trying.
Here,
Walks up to the camera and just puts
Joe.
it in front of the camera, I can see it.
I'll just read it to you real quick. It's not real long. Whereas the City of Harrington has been presented with a Library Services and Technology Grant Agreement G7684 for the Harrington Public Library, and whereas the City of Harrington City Council finds that the grant agreement provides a resource that benefits the Harrington Public Library and that is in the best interest of the City of Harrington and those who may utilize the Harrington Public Library. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of Harrington that the City Council authorizes the mayor to sign the Library Services and Technology Act Agreement G7684. Approved this day, etc., etc.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Yep.
I have no questions.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. With no further discussion, all in favor of passing resolution 244-2023, signify by saying aye.
242.
2-2023. Sorry, I've got it in front of me too.
Yeah, 242.
242-223, 2023.
Aye.
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 Did I hear the phone answer
Yep,
too?
you got it.
So that passed 5-0. Very good, Council, thank you.
That's a tongue twister for some reason, isn't it? You know, you look at that and
A lot of twos.
And let's see here, this only needs my signature and the clerk's, okay.
you're good.
Next on the item here is the mayor's comments. I would like at least one, two, or maybe all of you to weigh in on this. And this has to do with IIG, which is the company who's putting through the fiber optic to our building down here in the wastewater treatment area, as I call it. And they sent me an email here the other day, and I'm just gonna give you the Reader's Digest condensed version, that he wants an easement agreement now to come from the north, which is straight across from like Coffee Pot.
Rockland Road,
Yes, the road right over here to come straight across to the plant.
that's
He
Rockland.
also would like to have a agreement that gives him an area 100 by 100.
Feet?
Yes, 100 square feet, well, 100 by 100,
Right. It's 1,000 square
1,000
feet.
square feet.
That's 10,000.
10,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And they would pay to gravel and fence that, and he would like to have a gate big enough to egress and ingress, in which he wants to store big reels of cable like I allowed him to store down there right now for a short period of time, which being, but he also wants in here, he wants this agreement to be for 20 years plus 2 5-year extensions, and he wants to haul trucks in and out here. And my first question was him to, number one, I don't know that I can give you 100 by 100 down there, because I don't want that area taken up. I don't know what we're gonna use it for, but there's gravel piles and everything else. That's number one. Number two, I don't know that I want semis driving on our roads, which are less than standard quality to begin with, for the next 20 years plus another 10 additional years. So,
He wants this for free?
no, I'm sure they're gonna pay us some money, but I'm not sure that money would be the issue.
Justify the
10 years
expense.
from now, when we say we wanna mine all the gravel out of there, or we wanna cut all that out, haul the dirt away and put a basketball court, or, you know, I can't imagine what we might wanna do, but 20 years from now is a long time, actually 30 years.
But
So
to
if
be
you-
next to the wastewater treatment plant?
Over here.
Pardon me?
This is the road
Or
coming
some-
through.
you're worried about somebody wanting to
He
be
wants
in there
that
for
whole
maybe
chunk
for
of
the
Well,
waste,
they
I mean, the
wanna drive-
wastewater treatment is in there.
Well, yeah, but there's a lot of square footage down there to be used. But I'm not sure that I wanna see 100 reels that are
Oh, yeah.
10-foot diameter of fiber optic cable or whatever else they store. I don't know that I wanna see 40-foot semis driving down that road past David Budriss's house and up Fifth
Providing gravel, you
Avenue
mean?
anytime they wanna drive up and down there.
You know where the pit is right
So,
now.
when I was reading the emails, the
There's
part I
pits
didn't
right-
understand about this, is this a brand new request,
right
or is this
here,
something
right?
they thought was always a part of this, and
'Cause
then
there's
we're
the
saying,
trees
hold
I
on?
sent
slope
him,
behind
that's,
Will
I sent an
Price's.
email and I said, this is the first I've heard about it.
This is up here.
Up here.
And I got a call today at
This is where the original
4:45, and he
gravel pit
wanted me to
was.
call him and talk to him right now.
Exactly right here.
all through this
I
area.
kinda
Yeah.
held off on that. I think he's
That's
gonna
what I
wait a
know.
couple days to talk to me, but, so now he wants
And if
100
they
by
strung
100
that there,
foot
is it going
area
high
to
or low?
put storage
You wanna put that
in.
through the ground?
Right now,
I don't
it's in
know.
our
I'll find
bullpen
out.
down there with some of our
Find out.
scrap stuff. I don't know if you see any of it down there. But I'm not sure if we want to tie, and then the next thing is on that one page, you'll see that I've highlighted there where he wants access to go to the south. It's highlighted in purple.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to have an easement across there, and I don't know that we want to tie up any of that property.
Now, is that for underground or
That's
poles
just for
or
the
what?
cable, I'm pretty sure. Because if you look at that line, that turns into the red line that goes across private ground, and that's how they're gonna get the cable from Coffee Pot down.
That part I'm not concerned with. That comes right along back of your property
Right.
and where Mike's got all these cars parked
Right.
and that kind of stuff.
And at least
That
that's
one
how.
doesn't bother me so much. It's the one that's gonna go off to the south.
South?
Southwest is gonna go right
Show 'em
through
that one if
our
you didn't
prime
see that
gravel.
one.
Yeah, it's going
Steven?
through, well, it's right where the old gravel quarry is.
And where they stop, yes.
Okay, I have a question, might not, why are they waiting till now to ask us this?
Well, he said he wanted another, I can show you all the
So we don't
email
have an
trails,
option.
but I'd like to have more of you get involved who know the history of the town here, to know what that property,
And who is
Could-
he?
his name
Jeff.
is Jeff Yunt. He is the head of the
Okay.
spear for IIG.
Okay. Sorry I interrupted you there.
No, it's okay.
No, I would agree with you, Jess, and to answer my concern about those those lines easement, I'm not sure what they are. I doubt they're gonna dig them underground because it's pretty much solid rock through there.
That,
They blast that.
under all the hills where the gravel's
Where they
piled
wanna
down?
go out with the purple lines.
Yeah.
To the southwest, basically.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. That is all, what's that gonna do if the city wants to crush that?
Well, like I say, I have no idea what the long-term plan
Right.
of that property is.
And,
I looked right down on it out in my backyard,
yes,
so I don't think they're gonna turn it into a gravel pit or a place where they make asphalt or a factory, and I'm not concerned about that, but I don't know what our long-term plans for that were.
We've
Right
always
now-
held on to that as far as I know because that is prime basalt for gravel. That's an asset for the city.
There is a thought by a lot of people that we're just over here and this is all scab land and it's worth nothing, so we can do anything we want around here. Well,
Nope.
wait just a minute now, hold on.
well, they've,
So,
two things, I know, well, most you, probably nobody here would remember, but back in the late 80s, there was some discussion, and it referred to the heavy truck traffic. See, the county had a lot of gravel
Yep.
piled out, growing up as a kid, you remember. And the traffic going through our streets, it was it didn't necessarily stay, well, it didn't
Straight
stay
up
here.
Sherlock and out?
Yeah.
On old streets and beat the heck out of the streets, put it nicely.
Of course.
So it was proposed, and we tried getting them on the west end of my property back there, right where they want to build that 100 by 100 foot pad, back here.
Yes, over in there,
Is
okay.
that a road be constructed to 28?
yeah, I was just thinking that.
But I don't know what it
So not come down your road, but come straight across the
Yeah,
Capitol.
it was
the city
supposed to
roads,
come
yeah.
behind Mike Herons and
because
come
see,
across.
the deal was with all the city, or not city, excuse me,
Not
the
even
county
go on the
trucks and
old bridge
equipment.
or anything.
We're talking major stuff. They would come up Sherlock. Let me do that. They would come up Sherlock and they'd either stay on Sherlock and go out south or whatever, turn down Fifth. So it's just not one road being impacted.
All right.
I mean, there's multiples.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna propose.
So I would look into, I believe the year was, it was the late 80s, so I don't hold me to it. I know it was somewhere in there. And I think the legislature, not Slade Gordon, he was the federal, the state, I'll think of it at some other meeting. But anyways, they talked about trying to get a road through here and that there was some pushback because of the creek, but that's easy to deal with. That doesn't.
Get the right culvert.
Yeah, right, and you're done. But that would alleviate, I'd be more
Yeah.
inclined, I don't know, maybe if with all this stuff going on, that they build an access
Yep.
road there to do that.
So this whole company and this whole project, which is through the county here,
Right.
is a multi-billion-dollar job. There's big money and they want this stuff to happen day before yesterday. So far it's rolled pretty smooth. But I think I need to invite him for one to maybe our, we can't make an agreement to our work session and give him 15 minutes.
We can present stuff.
Yeah.
And I would like him to set this out to the whole group because there's more that goes on in this little town in some of these areas, especially the undeveloped ones, than I have any idea.
Right.
If they're gonna put a cable underneath our road here, fine. If the road caves in, they got insurance. And the road's already there. But this is undeveloped. I
Yeah,
don't,
I totally agree with David. I think, I'm not generally opposed to giving them ground that, or giving them access to ground that we don't necessarily use all that well right now, but we can't give that to them and then pay for the privilege of roads that have been beat to crap down the road. 'Cause
Yeah.
no one's gonna be paying us for them.
so,
We have a hard enough time keeping our roads up without any
They wanna
additional
update all our roads
traffic.
for us.
So if they're willing to get another access to 28, and maybe that even well,
It would
You know.
follow their line
You
coming
know.
in.
so when is the wastewater treatment stuff supposed to
it's
happen?
supposed to go out to bid this year.
And see, that would alleviate a
And
lot
that
of
should
traffic
already
too.
be
But-
being
But
done.
aren't they getting rid of one of the pools?
Yes, one of the little pools there, not one of the big ones.
Well, if you look at this, are you talking about like one of these two little
Yes,
babies?
yes,
Oh,
that's
okay.
correct.
Well,
If I could input,
yeah, Joe.
we already, and it's ancillary to this, but we've already given him a franchise agreement that lets him use our right of ways. Now, I sat in on, or I didn't sit, I happened to be there when he came in initially, and he was talking about a building and putting a couple of spools of steel there. He wasn't talking about taking over a quarter acre of land there. I don't think, my opinion is we need to consult with our wastewater engineer about what space they need and what kind of area they command for the proposed new wastewater treatment plant before we agree to anything.
I
So-
believe, Joe, that it's going to occupy the same space.
What about?
We're gonna
Can-
get rid of one of those ponds
can
and
they try-
reline the other one.
Can they transform the ground behind the McGregor building?
Oh, I don't think so. No, where our sand filter is? No, we still use that.
All of this?
Yes, that's,
Oh,
well, the light part is our filtering system. There's
Oh.
actually 7 sections in there, and at present, we only use 2 of them.
shoot. Okay, well, I was wondering if, I guess the general concept is, if they want some storage and they want it by a place where they're already gonna be running their fiber line, we have places on both sides of the road, not technically one.
How about the farm, well, this grassy area? Well, that's ours right there.
Right, so
Right
I'm
in
saying
front
I
of-
don't know if they have to be on the
Which
south
piece
side
are
of
you-
28, right? They could be on the north
So
side
this
of
part
28
right in here,
potentially.
the part that you would look across
Oh,
to
in
see-
between the McGregor building and the road?
Or here.
Or here?
Excuse me, yes, right here.
Right in there.
That's already got access onto 28.
Yep.
It doesn't have a culvert to have to worry
It's a bit of a
about.
slope there, isn't there? But
So do we want to look at this from the hillside? When you come up on the section where I live, all those people look out over that.
Mhm.
And, I mean, I look out at the McGregor building.
They have the money to
That's
fence
not-
it.
That's not a waterfront property, but I kind of enjoy looking out across, nothing out there.
Well, it is, but it's just wrong type of water.
Yeah, that's true. So at any rate, I
Sounds
would
like we
love
need
to
to talk
see a
about
couple of you get involved in this,
Well,
so we can have a committee here. This, I just put a stop to this right now, yesterday, day before. I told him, I'm not gonna okay that until I get some input from other people here.
well, I think Joe did bring up a very important point about consulting our engineers with the wastewater to see what's all involved entails there. two things, if we could get this road, from my standpoint, if they need to build there, if we could get that other access road, it would alleviate not only the problem with that, future traffic and everything, the whole ball of wax.
Yep.
But also
Well, especially as they redo the wastewater treatment
Yeah.
plan, if there's already access off 28, it's a lot less traffic going past your house.
and just through town, period.
Yep.
Or city. And the next one, easements, but what they're asking for, there's no easements. They're asking for a new easement. So these go willy-nilly across the countryside. Those purple lines that you're showing
Right.
across there.
Yeah, those are,
they
that's
just
not
go
spec'd out.
out that way. And I don't know what that's all about. I mean, yes, it's probably cable and fiber and all that, but where in creation, or where's it gonna hook up?
And that's not all city property either that goes out that direction.
It is to a point, but then.
Then it runs into Mollers.
Ron Mollers.
Mike Heron's right
Right.
out there.
Well, he's a little
And the
more
other
west.
gravel pit, or the other gravel pile.
So yeah,
is
that's
out-
what yeah.
We don't have a bigger expansion on what that, but what would concern us is the city property. And I know that's some really good basalt in that whole
I told
shelf.
him I couldn't go forward to this without a lot more
Have him come
information.
down to one of our workshops.
So next Wednesday
Next
would be,
Wednesday.
Yeah.
having no problem with that?
Yeah, have him come down and talk to us. Let's
Okay.
save us some speculation.
And I know it's not a good time now, but I'd like to see, we go down there, a bunch of us go look at what we're talking about. Physically
Yes.
drive down there and show you guys.
Okay. Other than that, we've hauled one junk car away so far, so our ordinance is showing some fruit there. We've got 2 more of them scheduled. Yes, there's one up there that's already, the paperwork's been filed with the sheriff. So that's 14 days. If the owner doesn't get rid of it or take it away in 14 days, we can call good guys again.
Is one of them on Lincoln? Is it the red pickup?
No.
Okay, so you got 3 now.
No, it's the car that's next to the grain elevators. It's in the backyard now of the junkyard, which all four of the cars were moved off the street across from the school, and they've been put in the backyard, so the backyard is filling up now.
Well, there's one up by me on Lincoln, and it belonged to Lauren Tika, and he left. He's taken the plates off and just thrown a bunch of junk in the back end of the pickup, and he hasn't been around for months.
I don't know that person by name, but
Yeah, you had mentioned that last
Yeah.
meeting.
so come in and fill out a complaint form tomorrow, and we'll have our man go up and take a look at it and see if it meets the conditions.
Okay.
I know if we don't get a handle on stuff, and I've been seeing a lot of, I don't know what you call it, just sloppy everything. I mean, on Willis Street there, between 4th and 5th, you got people that are parking, they're encroaching the road and right away.
The white car across the street by the old weld shop and the red Subaru across the street and down half a block from you,
Yeah, that one's one.
both of those have already been worked on, and we're waiting for the sheriff to come out.
But if you go up in front, you head up Willis, like off of 5th, come up this way, between 4th and 5th, there's a couple houses there that have their rigs, that they're not parked up where they should be. Well, one thing, it will impede snow plowing operations, for one. But 2, their garbage cans out there, it's just, they're
Yep.
coming in the street, it's just sloppiness.
Encroaching.
One of
Yeah.
them's parked on the sidewalk, has been for about 2 years now.
Well, I know there's a couple that did that because we had fountains going off out there.
This one is because it's got no transmission in it.
Okay, well, that's,
Too bad, so sad.
yeah, but I mean, the few cars they're parking in the street, and I think we have ordinances, older ordinances that allow so many cars in the direction they can park on the city streets, whether it be on diagonal or parallel.
Or perpendicular.
Yeah, all that. Sorry, no.
So at any rate, the ordinance is having some success.
Good,
That's good to
Things
hear.
are starting.
good.
And that's all I got. I got you guys interested. We'll get that coming here. Public comments?
We
I
don't
don't
know
see any.
executive?
Is there an executive session or is?
No.
Okay.
I don't know, anybody gonna call in with them? Public comments, anybody on the telephones?
So,
You're on.
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
so we have a motion to adjourn. Second. I didn't catch who that was.
Two people seconded it.
Okay.
David and Joe, it's a flip of the coin.
Okay. All in favor of the motion to adjourn?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
All opposed say the same? Good. Stay on the line for a second, Joe.
Yep.
Ready to end our,
Yeah. All right, you're gonna timestamp it?
yes, it is 9:12 PM.
Okay.
And we're calling the meeting adjourned.